time is already up. But this issue is this is really the most controversial of the entire Qadhi of Umar ibn Khattab, which to this day is subject of much headaches for all of us students of knowledge and ulama and scholars, because people are so confused, and that is the issue of the triple divorce. The triple divorce. And very briefly, this is a fiqh class, a different one. I don't have time for all of that, but you should know it happened in the time of Umar. And the whole controversy goes back to this issue of Umar ibn Khattab and what exactly happened. So, to be very, very simplistic, there are two narratives. There are two narratives. Which one is valid is the whole point of controversy. The one narrative is that the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the both of them, they considered a triple divorce to be one. And Umar ibn al-Khattab was the one who changed this policy and considered a triple divorce to be three. Now pause here. Does everybody know a triple divorce? A triple divorce. After how long? What is the period? Okay, so I'll explain. The triple divorce is when a husband says to his wife, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. And he says it in one gathering. Okay? So this is a triple divorce. Or you can say, he says, I divorce you 3 times. Okay? Or you can say, he says, I divorce you a triple divorce. In other words, the clear point is that he is wanting to divorce her multiple times in one sitting or gathering. Now, the technical or the realistic or the sunnah method of divorcing is that you give one divorce at one time. And by unanimous consensus, a man is sinful in the eyes of Allah for giving multiple divorces at one time. Okay? Because he has 3 opportunities for divorce. We know that. At-talaqu marratan. There are 2 that you can take her back. At the 3rd time, خلاص فلا تحل له من بعده. So there are 3 talaqs that you can do. 3 strikes as we know. 3 talaqs. And the point being, you're supposed to give a divorce if you want to. If it doesn't work out, then khalas. If it does work out, bring her back in. Then if it doesn't work out, another time a 2nd divorce, and then a 3rd divorce. So that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to space it out if it really needs to be spaced out. Now, suppose a husband gets so angry that he wants to shut the door for having this wife be a part of his life ever in the future. In other words, he wants to be cruel and nasty and punish her. And he wants to shut the door permanently, that I'm never ever going to have anything to do with you. And it's impossible now for me to do that. And he does that in one gathering, one sitting, meaning one place at one time. Not spacing it out over a few months, they have another fight. You know, that's the Sharia-wise, that's the ideal of the Sharia. That, you know, they had a fight, they had to divorce, then he got regretful and he wanted to bring her back, and then a few months later another major fight, then another divorce. That's the way it should be. Suppose he got so angry he wanted to shut the door and he said, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, wanting to completely cancel out any opportunity for actual nikah after this. According to the first narrative, this triple divorce was considered one, because you cannot have another divorce once she is already divorced. You have to wait until the first divorce basically finishes and you take her back, or the nikah breaks away. Then the point comes, you can perhaps give a 2nd divorce. Clear? Right? You understand this point? The first narrative says that once he says, I divorce you, he can say 1,000,000 times, I divorce you, in that gathering, in that living room, in that bedroom. It doesn't matter, because it's one divorce, and it's just like the light switch. You turned it off, khalas. Doesn't matter. It's going to be off until its whole iddah expires, right? Until the lady's iddah finishes. Then he has the option of a 2nd if he wants. marriage or whatnot. So this narrative says Umar ibn al-Khattab was the first person to change this. And this understanding goes back to a hadith by Ibn Abbas that he says, and this hadith is in Sahih Muslim, and this is the crux of the argument, that كانت الطلاق في عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وفي عهد أبي بكر الصديق وفي سنتين من عهد عمر بن الخطاب الطلاق الثلاث واحدة. The talaq at the time of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم and Abu Bakr and the first 2 years of Umar, the triple talaq was considered wahida, one. This is explicit in Sahih Muslim. The triple talaq was considered one. Then Umar ibn al-Khattab said, the people have been hasty regarding a matter that they had some leeway in. قَدْ اسْتَعْجَلَ النَّاسِ. They are being hasty, they're being mean and nasty in a matter that Allah had given them leeway. In other words, it's a expression that basically means the people are taking advantage of a loophole and they're abusing the system. So to shut the loophole, why don't we enforce it on them? So he enforced it on them, Ibn Abbas said. Meaning what? Triple became triple. That's the first understanding. It is the predominant understanding. And then scholars differ. So this is understanding 1A, 1B. 1A, the four madhahib. Since Umar did it, and the Sahaba agreed, and they had ijma', khalas, we will do it as well. So all four madhahib have 3 equals 3. Clear? All four madhahib. This is the standard opinion of Sunni Islam. 3 equals 3 when it comes to talaq. And their main point of evidence, Umar did it as qada, he instituted it as a nationwide philosophy of ruling, and the Sahaba all followed him, and nobody changed it after him. And Uthman and Ali, they followed along. That was the qada. End of story. Who are we to change when they've decided? Okay? Now, that's 1A. 1B, exact same narrative, but flip it around. If Umar decided it, that's not the Sharia per se, that's ijtihad of Umar. So, why don't we go back to the asl, which is what the Prophet ﷺ did? 3 equals 1. This was Ibn Taymiyyah's position, and because of it, he was jailed. Because the other madhahib scholars said this is a bid'ah position, because it goes against the four madhahib. This is a bid'i position. And it is a position that has no basis in the madhahib. And you can't find any of the madhab scholars saying this. So they said this is a shadh position that he should be jailed for. And of course they were very jealous of Ibn Taymiyyah for many other reasons. And so they used this, and he went to jail for this fiqhi position of 3 talaq being 1. Now, Ibn Taymiyyah gave this fatwa. His student Ibn al-Qayyim very beautifully defended it in a number of books. Ibn Taymiyyah as well has a treatise on it. And frankly, their evidences are very, very powerful. And in fact, the statement of Ibn Abbas is very clear. كانت الطلاق في عهد الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم الطلاق الثلاث واحدة. It's very explicit that the 3 talaq was considered 1. Then Umar said, because the people are taking advantage, we will hold them account to it. So فَأَمْضَاهُ عَلَيْهِمْ, he considered 3 to be 3. And Ibn Taymiyyah's position was, khalas, Umar had the right to make his ijtihad, but that's not binding on the rest of the ummah till Yawm al-Qiyamah. And Ibn Taymiyyah's position has remained alive up until this day, and as you know, it remains a source of tension to this day. The madhabi scholars to this day say 3 equals 3, and those who follow Ibn Taymiyyah say 3 equals 1, and this is still a source of major tension, and it is something that unfortunately I as well have to be getting involved in all the time when a sister comes, and this is the reality. I've given a whole khutbah about this, that wallahi we think very much about, and we talk a lot about the importance of marriage and how to get married, but divorce is a taboo, and we never tell our communities how to divorce. And unfortunately, because it's a taboo topic and we never talk about it, people don't know how to divorce, and they fall into major errors and problems. Both schools or both sides agree this is not how you should divorce. The ikhtilaf comes, what if you act foolish? and this is a statement of Ibn Abbas, that a man came and said, "Oh Ibn Abbas, I was angry last night and I divorced my wife the number of stars in the sky." "Oh Ibn Abbas, what do I do? Oh Ibn Abbas, help me." And Ibn Abbas said that some of you acts in haste and anger and foolishness, and then the next day you come and you say, "Ya Ibn Abbas, Ya Ibn Abbas, Ya Ibn Abbas, I cannot help you. You are the one who acted in this manner." Means he as well adopted Umar's fatwa, because that was Umar's position and it became the standard of the ummah. The point being though, that whatever position you follow, both sides agree this is not the way you divorce. Divorce is not done on the spur of the moment. It's not done in haste. It's not done in anger. If you must divorce, then plan it out the way you planned your marriage out. Think it through. Pray istikhara, make istishara, and do it the proper manner. Then you're not going to fall into this problem. Divorce should never be done on the spur of the moment, which unfortunately is the culture of the Muslim lands. Wallahi, this is one of the biggest musibas, that we don't know the etiquettes even of divorce. Yes, sometimes divorce has to take place. When it must be done, it should be given the same amount of thought. No, wallahi, it should be given more thought than the marriage itself. This is the sunnah. This is the Sahaba's position. So that's why Umar ibn Khattab, when he instituted this, what was his goal? Think about it. His goal was, oh men, stop playing around with divorce. It's a big deal. Don't mess around with it. And he wanted to punish them for being foolish. Stop being foolish. Don't just say divorce, 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 and then think there's not going to be any consequences. This was the niyyah of Umar. And you know, it has a valid perspective. Now, when push comes to shove, I am sympathetic to Ibn Taymiyyah in this regard. And for me, clearly, and also, wallahi, you know, the man was foolish, but then we shouldn't punish his wife and children for his stupidity, which is what ends up happening. The man was foolish, he gives the triple divorce, then he comes the next day to me and to all of the mashayikh, what do I do, what do I do? He's fatwa shopping for Ibn Taymiyyah, who's going to give him that fatwa? And I know this and we all know it, this is the reality. But his wife of 15, 20, 30 years, his children, whatnot, what are we going to do? Yeah, he was foolish, he acted in haste. Why should the whole family suffer? And I agree, Ibn Taymiyyah has and Ibn al-Qayyim has like a huge section in his book, I'lam al-Waqi'in and others, where he goes into such great detail that wallahi is very convincing to me and to many students. And this is also the standard fatwa of Saudi Arabia in the court system. The courts all in Saudi Arabia, the triple is single. And somebody told me literally last week from the Azhar school, somebody told me that Azhar has also adopted this position. I have not read it myself, but an Azhari sheikh, last week where was I, in some city, and I was talking this issue with them, and they told me no, now even Al-Azhar has adopted this position, which I found very, very interesting, because Al-Azhar is not pro-Ibn Taymiyyah. But they understood that marriages are being ruined, that this is a very controversial issue, and so they as well have adopted that the triple divorce is considered single. And therefore, according to that position, if you divorce triple or multiple times, you are sinful in the eyes of Allah, and you must repent, and you acted foolishly. But that will be counted as one. And that means that if this was your first divorce, you have two. But if it was your second or third, so again, you have to think about it, you know, like this. In any case, so Umar ibn Khattab had this position. The final